The Renters Reform Bill was part of the 2019 Conservative Manifesto. It's finally been approved by the House of Commons, passed over to the House of Lords, where it's at the second reading stage. So they'll be kicked around for a bit, so hopefully no changes for it to be kicked back to the House of Commons again. Michael Gove has promised that this will be law by the time of the general election, so let's see how that goes. Anyway, Gemma, welcome back. The Renters Reform Bill. I don't think landlords really got anything to be worried about here generally if they're a good landlord, and they've got a great managing agent like you.
Yeah, no, I agree, Mark. I don't think there's anything for good landlords to really fear about this.
No.
It's it may in a way actually make things a little bit simpler for how to conduct the tenancies.
It's put in place to protect the rights of the tenants, which is a great thing. Obviously, a big thing was the abolition of the Section 21 notice, which isn't happening just yet, I think, is it?
No, that's going to be delayed as they've said that they want to bring the courts up to date so they'll be able to deal with the change of abolishing the Section 21s and strengthening the Section 8 notices.
Yeah, and in fairness, 80% of landlords have never used a Section 21. I think you very rarely use a Section 21, do you?
No, if you had a good tenant that was looking after property and paying the rent on time, you would never think as a landlord to use a Section 21 notice to casually end the tenancy.
So it's really not going to affect that many people. In fact, over 60% of the 20% used the Section 21 because the tenant was in serious breach of a lease, and only 6% of tenancies have ended of the landlord's volition, which is quite interesting. So it just shows that landlords really don't evict tenants on a whim.
No, I think there's been quite a lot of unfair press, in all honesty, in relation to Section 21 notices. People will only generally serve a Section 21 notice if they want to end the tenancy because they want to move back in, or generally because they want to sell the property.
Yeah, and it's quite right that it's there because you do have tenants who are in a minority who are worried about their landlords living in bad conditions, roof ceiling collapses. They don't want to be turfed out. So it is great that they're protected. If Labour are elected, then they will abolish Section 21s pretty much immediately, I think, and then deal with the courts later. So not quite sure how that's going to work.
No, that will be an interesting one, how they will actually deal with that in practicalities.
Because I think the average from Section 21 notice being served to an eviction, if it's required, is 6 months or even longer. Even longer sometimes. You're doing well, to be honest, if you serve a Section 21 notice and your tenant's out within 3 to 6 months. But the aim is to strengthen the Section 8 grounds, and Section 8 covers more specific breaches, I think.
Yes, it covers fault, by the tenants within the tenancy.
Which is rent arrears, antisocial behaviour, criminal activity, property damage, breach of tenancy agreement. So you'll only really serve a Section 8 at the moment if you're looking to take the tenant to courts.
Yes, if there's been a serious breach, so their intention is that they will bring grounds within Section 8 for a landlord to be able to end the tenancy for a family member to move in, and for them to be able to sell the property, which is in a way just replacing what most people would use the Section 21 notice for.
Yeah, so Section 21 is generally for landlords selling. It is the vast majority of cases, and then there's rent arrears and various other things as well. So cracking on with the main points, assured short-hold tenancies are going to be abolished and will be changed to periodic assured tenancies. So I don't think the tenant actually can terminate the tenancy before 6 months, can
No,
they?
there will be an initial fixed term for 6 months, and then after that initial 6 months term has been completed, the tenant will be able to give 2 months notice at any point.
Rent review clauses in tenancy agreements will be abolished. So rents can be increased on an annual basis only, requiring 2 months' notice, and the tenants have the right to challenge that.
At a first-tier tribunal.
Fortunately, rent caps aren't coming in, which has destroyed the Scottish market. I believe, I think I read that somewhere, it's not my words. Landlords will be required to join the Ombudsman scheme, which is kind of great.
Which is good for your private landlord and tenant that don't have an agent involved, because it's hard for them to find a point of redress.
Yeah, so hopefully that stops things going to court. So the landlord can't go to the Ombudsman, but the tenant can.
Unfortunately not. There is a two-way relationship with these things.
There's a new property portal, which just means that the landlord has all their stuff up.
Yep.
So that's great as well. So the tenant can be secure that everything is in place.
It'll be good peace of mind that a tenant should, hopefully be able to have a look and see that the landlord's doing everything he should.
I absolutely couldn't agree more. And Decent Home Standard has been extended from social housing to the private rental sector in this bill as well, which is great. It just means that you've got...
Yeah, everyone should be able to live in a home of a decent, modern standard and quality of fittings.
I think the intention is to extend AWAB's law as well, that being the tragic death of the 2-year-old due to mould. I hasten to add, it was council housing, who are not entirely not to blame in this whole sector. It's not just the private rental sector at fault here, I hasten to add. And again, this is a very small number of cases. The only thing I say in respect to that is that you can't actually blame the tenants for mould anymore.
They are going to, while in all honesty, they are a contributory factor how people live within a property, but yes, it will be down to the landlord to resolve.
It is often down to lifestyle, drying sheets over radiators,
if the property's not ventilated, that is the main... Although sometimes it is the construction of the property and it's very hard for a tenant to keep on top of it, however hard they try.
And it's very difficult for the landlord to deal with it as well. You can put air bricks in, doesn't actually solve a lot of problems. And generally speaking, you go back, the tenant's got the air bricks covered over because it gets so cold.
Many a time where the air vents have blocked over with cling film or cardboard.
So very difficult to eliminate mould actually, just because of construction in that sort of like 60s, 70s era.
It is something a landlord has to work hard with the tenant to make them understand the reasons why mould and condensation does build up. So really, help themselves to try and help with the property, as well as the landlord putting in measures he can do.
Right, and you can't refuse people with children a tenancy anymore, which is good. You can't refuse social housing tenants. So I think the only problem that people have got with that generally is that the housing benefit is paid direct to the tenant and not the landlord.
Yes.
And
it's also paid in arrears, whereas most agents will require rent to be paid in advance. So it's difficult.
That is a big problem, I think. Pets. Your favourite subject. I'm sure you've been waiting for us to get onto this one.
Yes, pets, in my opinion, make a very nice home.
They do.
So it's going to be, again, it's giving tenants a right to make the rental properties feel more homely.
Yeah.
So going forward, the landlord won't be able to flatly refuse the tenants to be able to have a pet. They will have to give a valid reason why the tenants aren't allowed to have a pet within the property. And they'll also be able to ask the tenants to get valid pet insurance to cover any damage from the pet, which is understandable.
Yeah.
So I think that's a positive move going forward for tenants.
Absolutely. All in all, I think a jolly good thing. It will be coming very soon. It has been a long time in the making. So Section 21s will be on us sooner or later.
With most housing acts and big changes to the housing law, the bill will be brought in within an act, and then there'll be later phases that will be brought in, such as when they brought in the EPCs and deposit protection within a housing
And there's
act.
been a big balancing act between the rights of the tenants and the rights of the landlords as well. So thank you very much, Gemma.
Oh, thank you.